All right, everyone. Welcome to the very first session of AI Champions. It's just a term I invented. I needed some champions like you guys. Thank you so much for joining this call. Um, I did a workshop on 15th of March. 75 people showed up in my workshop, and it felt so good. I want to give back to this community. I did it again this time. We are expecting 120 people. 380 people registered so far. We'll also do it online, so people can also join online from around the world. The whole workshop topic is about voice AI agents and vibe coding. This is a call that's being recorded for playback for you guys and also for the other champions who may join later. What's the champion program? What's the workshop? I'll talk about in just a minute. But before I go on, please keep it as conversational as you can. Raise your hand using the raise hand feature of Google Meet so that I know that there's a question, and then I'll close the sentences I have or the workflow that I'm showing, and then we can take the question on voice so that we can make this as conversational, as informative as possible. It's going to be a 3-hour long call. We'll have a break in between. During the break, I will be still at my desk, available for answering questions. But if you also want to stay, you can stay and ask me those questions in those moments. All right, so before we start, some of you might already know me. What do I do, who I am? But maybe that kind of like starts the conversation. My name is Emil Sayer. I'm originally from Afghanistan. I was 2 years old when my family had to flee to Pakistan. I grew up there. I speak 5 languages. I went back to Afghanistan in 2005, left Afghanistan in 2015 after getting my bachelor's degree, marrying to the most beautiful and strong woman in Afghanistan. And I came to Germany in 2015 for doing my master's in Koblenz University, and I was doing it through a scholarship called DAAD. And this scholarship was paying for everything for my education, but still I said no. Once an entrepreneur, forever an entrepreneur. I did a startup. My startup kind of took off, and I started building software. I'm building software for 23 years. For the past 10 years, I've been building software in Germany for these clients, including a scale-up called Zap. $300 million in funding. I was one of the early hires, so I made some profits there, and I brought forward those profits to my companies that I built. This is one of the AI agent company that I built in 2023, 2024, which unfortunately do not exist anymore. We had to liquidate the company because of lack of funding. Although I lost a lot of my savings in this company, it's sad, but I learned a lot of lessons. For those of you who know Knight Rider, Michael, I think you know it. It's basically what we were building. Like VoiceKit was the Knight Industries 2000
Old enough to know it. Maybe that's what you're referring to.
I mean, I only saw your video nodding, and then I said maybe you know it. But yes, that's the case. It's like 1980s TV series. It's a talking car. It's the very first version of this, what do you call it, artificial intelligence talking or voice AI agents, basically doing things for David Hasselhoff. That's it. We were focusing this on the sales team, usually on Autobahn, but with a small evolution of this startup, we went out of this. Since we said like, look, it's just one voice interface, and then it has like this orchestration layer. This was the time when I got my hands dirty with NA10 in mid 2023, and we said like, well, why should it stay only in the car, it can go out of the car. And that was the moment when we said, like, well, cars are our current focus market, we're going to get out of the car. And the 2013 movie that is kind of like the headlines of all voice AI companies, this was our stuff at the time. But enough about me. Now I'm a consultant. I help SMEs building AI agents, and I do these workshops. And you can imagine, if you're a developer, as a developer, getting out of your shell and putting yourself on YouTube, vulnerable, making mistakes, it's a big step forward. And I did that on 19th of January 2025, a couple of months ago. And I'm super thankful about everyone who pushed me this much so that I could put a lot of videos on YouTube. So everything we're doing now here will end up on my YouTube channel, and also the workshops that I'm doing. So everything is recorded so that we can deliver as much value as we can to the AI community, especially to Germany or Europe's AI community. I'm also the host of AI Builders monthly meetup. I moderate this meetup so that we can pay back to EU's AI movement. All right, so what are we gonna do in this amazing workshop? This amazing workshop already has 386 registrations. 6 registrations came this morning, or maybe more. I'm not sure if everyone registered this mandatory form, this mandatory Google form. The Google form that you registered, that's a different Google form. That's for becoming I will quickly share it here so that you guys can fill it if you haven't filled it yet. The reason I'm asking that is because this is the source for me to make sure that I know how many guests are gonna be there. So please fill this form if you haven't filled it yet. It's a mandatory form for in-person attendance so that I can run my logistics on that. So basically what we are gonna build is on the top of the part 1. Part 1 material is all included in this Luma page that you can see it yourself. I'm going to also share the Luma page link here if you don't have access to it now. So there is a full video of the workshop that happened on 15th of March. 75 people came, and most of them were not developers, but they could follow the workshop. And I'm trying to keep my workshop as much in that format as possible. But unfortunately, at some point in time, we have to accelerate and then provide more detailed things. So the format would be something like that. We will start with some small presentation. The amount of time of the presentation will reduce a lot. I already have the presentation and everything ready. And then I have created this playlist. This is the playlist that was a part of this particular workshop on 15th of May. And the playlist that I have just finished now, as you can see on my screen, it is just done. It looks something like that, but but it is not yet entirely done and finished. Uploading and indexing and things like that on YouTube, that will happen in the next couple of days. Hopefully tomorrow I will finish that. Okay, so the amount of data that we will supply with the workshop will be a lot. Nobody hopefully will be left behind, but with the help of all of you, we'll make sure that that this is not gonna be the case, and that they will not leave the place without having something done. So we will be using 2 different applications. One is called VAPI. One is called NA10. And in this session, I will walk you guys through everything we'll cover in that workshop. I might be fast, but I believe that most of you are either developer or you are comfortable with these tools. So therefore, I will be faster than the version that I will do exactly in the workshop. So it's a champions call. You guys are champions, but if I was too fast, please stop me right away and then say that re-explain that step, re-explain that step. Okay. So let's start from our whiteboard. What are we going to cover? This is the entire topic list. Every single one of these things are already recorded. You will receive the recording of this so that before the actual workshop on 17th of May, you can go through it and be prepared. It is across 3 parts: composing an email, reading emails with a voice interface, and also some vibe coding. This is the diagram of what we're going to build. I'll explain everything in just a minute. And whenever I face a concept that I need to explain, I explain it on whiteboarding session like that. This is the main course. This is the main idea behind the course. It has a small touch on vibe coding, but there is another course that I also generated about vibe coding that has 50 lectures that I will supply it on that day for free for everyone joining that course. Okay, let's start on seeing what are we going to build. We're going to build, please, Rakesh.
Hey, Emil, I'm not sure if I'm going to be stay for the call. So I thought, should I quickly run through, say, the workshop flow part of things before you get into the tech side? Does that make sense now? Or
yes, let's do that. Thank you for reminding me about that. Yes, just to put the context, Rakesh will be helping me with event management and some small logistics. And he has been a great friend. He runs workshops himself. Maybe you can do a quick introduction, Rakesh, before you start.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Emil. Hey, everybody. I'm Rakesh. Mainly work with solving people and culture problems for leaders and their teams. Work with a lot of tech teams and help them either fight fires or help them prevent it before it can start as a spark. So a huge part of my work is bringing people together and helping them have meaningful conversations and getting them on the same page, getting them to align. So the vision that together with Emil that we had for this session was to first get started with a little bit of networking / icebreaker so that people can get that out of the way and they can have their minds clear and they can really focus on everything that Emil is going to share. So we have thought of asking participants to already arrive at 9:45 so that they have a little bit of time. Maybe they can, find a spot, put their bags aside, get a coffee, whatever, before we get started at sharp 10. And at 10, we'll do a quick activity, like I said, and I'm setting up instructions for that in a slide deck, just like how Emil is sharing. And I'll take everyone through that. And you can also repeat the instructions if needed to your smaller groups. It won't be very tricky or complex. Don't worry about that. And once that small intro is done, then I can do a short introduction about Emil and bring him into the picture. So sort of like imagine like before the rock star or the main stand-up comedian comes in, you have an opening act. So once the opening act warms the people up, then you can have the main performance on stage. That's the idea behind it. And we'll also get logistics and other things out of the way. We'll share the agenda very quickly and say, hey, this is what we have planned. There are breaks. And after each section, there's going to be a specific break where we'll have a learning moment as well as a chance for people to take a quick breather. And then we start the next session so that people are always fresh. The energy is maintained. Of course, it won't be perfect at some point in the afternoon. The energy is going to flag a little bit, but we'll make sure that we bring it back on track. And finally, to close, I think it'll be really good for people to also to share what was the biggest takeaway that they had from the day, and also to see what are things that they're going to implement for themselves after they leave that room. because most of the times when people are in a session like this, it's great energy, everyone has a great time. But the moment they step out, they either tend to forget or daily life takes over. So we want to prevent that a little bit and ensure that everyone is also committing to at least doing some small thing, and that the momentum is not lost as soon as they leave the session. So we want a powerful emotional closing moment. And yeah, we'll also share how people can participate in the next workshop in coming up in June, or other upcoming things that they can participate in. Yeah. So yeah, that's roughly the sequence. And if you have any ideas, please feel free to reach out to me if you feel, hey, this is something we can do to make sure that people can be in good spirits, or they can actually connect better with each other, and at the same time focus on the tech. Give me a shout out. Happy to listen to ideas. Back to you, Emma.
Thank you, Rakesh. I like the energy. It's gonna be amazing, I think, yeah. Especially with that small little Indian song that the melody that we have in mind, just the vibes, Yeah,
Let's keep that as a surprise also for the champions.
exactly. I'm just gonna create like a little bit of suspense that there might be some. You might need to polish your Indian moves like that.
We'll try our best.
Okay. Alrighty. So then let's start. What are we going to do? We're going to explain everything from VAPI, everything from NA10 in the context of this one thing. Composing an email, reading emails. So it will contain a lot of concepts. I will do a LinkedIn post about what sort of features are we going to cover from what technologies. I'm creating a graphic that encapsulates all of that. I'll send that link to you guys in the WhatsApp group. And then you will know that. But at the end of these, the next 2.5 hours, you will see exactly what we want to do. Before we start, I would like to explain how does a voice AI engine works, or when you talk to a voice AI, what does it feel like and how does it work? Maybe I can give you guys a quick demo of what is a voice AI, and then I will explain that diagram in just a minute. So I have a button on my website. Perhaps anyone have tried it. It sounds so much like me. I think it sounds so much like me. But it's a voice clone of me done with 11 Labs.
Hello, dear. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. How can I assist you today?
I'm not sure. What do you do? What's your profession?
Oh, no worries. Let me tell you a bit about myself. I am an AI engineer, special.
So basically, it knows a little bit about me, and it talks, and it's also done with VAPI. This is not what we are going to build. We are going to build something very similar, but on a phone. And the motto of that is something that we will be doing around on the movement, when you're driving, when you're cycling, when you're jogging, when your hands are busy washing dishes and you still want to check your email. So that will be the whole concept that we'll do. And in the process, as I mentioned before, we'll be using VAPI. So let's start from very smallest step. How can you create a VAPI assistant? You go to the dashboard, you sign up and everything. That's the steps that I believe everyone will be able to do. But if you got stuck when you're doing it yourself, feel free to send me a screenshot on WhatsApp group. I can assist you. Go to assistant, create your assistant. Let's call our assistant. I call my assistant Samantha. And then keep the blank one. Go click on create. This way you create an assistant like this. Here you can pick which provider you want to give. OpenAI is okay. 4.0 is okay. 4.0 mini is better, cheaper, faster. The first message could be, "Hi, Emil, how are you doing?" And then the system prompt could be, I have a dictation tool. Now, when I press my keyboard, you'll see the dictation tool. It's not a part of the VAPI UI. You are a friendly assistant to Emil Sire, and you have access to his Gmail inbox. You can read emails to him, and you can compose emails to him. It always gets my name wrong. Maybe I should change my name. Okay. Or maybe I should put it in the settings of Super Whisper. Okay, then I published this. I want to explain a few things before we go on. Here you can see the cost, how much it costs per minute. All the models are the important elements that you have selected from there. The latency of this to the web, but the latency of this to Twilio is the latency we're interested in, because we are going to do a phone call to this. Why phone call? Because it's hands-free. You will see it in a minute when we cover the phone call, the phone numbers tab. So the transcriber is basically the transcription service. Keeping it deepgram is okay. I don't change anything here. The voice, I like the voice from deepgram, Aura 2, and Elena. This is, I don't know, it's just a preference. But you can select a so-called TTS, text-to-speech, or the voice, the sound of the girl or the boy speaking, and then it just works fine like that. Now, if I click on publish, and I click on talking, let me share only one tab so that you guys can also hear what I hear. You will hear basically a voice AI talking, which is basically a chat GPT. Let's talk to it.
Hi, Emil. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm glad to hear you're doing well. Emil, I'm doing great, thank you. How can I?
So basically, it's ChatGPT behind a number. Now, how can I access this without any web application? It's a phone number that I can access to. I'll go and create a phone number here. You just need to put any number. Let's say UIAC I found, and then it gives you some suggestions. Those are the actual country codes of the US. The common questions that can come here is that, can I create a German phone number? The answer is yes, you can, but you have to have a German business and go through an approval. In Germany, it's not allowed to create voice over IP phone numbers like that on the fly. It takes 2 minutes to finish creating that phone number. Once it's finished, then you can call this phone number. I also heard common questions that, does it cost money? Yes, everything costs money. So that's the answer. If your fellow participants ask you, oh, does it cost money? The short answer is yes, it costs money. Carry on to the next question. So the overall architecture, until this phone number is being acquired, I'd like to explain how this whole thing works. So basically, we will have a cool guy there. In this case, being me, if I'm cool. I pick the phone, I call, the call goes through Twilio. Then Twilio goes through this, it all happens internally. Like literally every single thing that I'm going to show here is something that you will not need to write a single line of code for, but it happens internally. There's these two small components in any voice AI agent that's running. One is called voice activity detection, VAD, voice activity detection. What it is, it's basically a piece of software that detects when there's silence. It means that this is the time that I should start and trigger the next steps, being ASR, LLM, TTS, and all of them, which you'll see in a minute. But it's not a good user experience if you do not add it with this end of utterance detection, or also known as end of turn detection. It's another piece of software, an algorithm that finds out whether you're done speaking. You and I, as human brain, understand that okay, now the context is finished, now I can talk. Otherwise, when we are having a conversation in a meetup, we don't just talk when there is like a 500 millisecond latency in the speaking of the other guy. If the other guy is or girl is talking and is pausing, thinking, we as human brain think that, okay, it's the time that I should wait, and she will finish her thinking and then finish a sentence and then talk to me. So these two pieces of software is that component that is already inside the brain of VAPI that we can get off the shelf. And we had to spend a lot of time in building that at VoiceKit in my startup. And then the ASR, automatic speech recognition. This is also known as speech to text, STT. But since TTS and STT are too close to each other, I prefer picking the name ASR, automatic speech recognition. It's easy to remember that way. Okay, so then the ASR converts it into text. Then we send it to any LLM of our choice, the one that we picked from VAPI. And then the text of LLM comes back to the TTS of our choice, in this case being DeepGram, Aura 2, and Elena, that cute girl voice that was talking back to me earlier. So it just basically goes through this wire, and then that TTS is played back through Twilio through a phone call. So now let's go back and see if our phone call is, oh my God, I just realized that the screen sharing was only on a tab, and the whole time I was showing a diagram. Nobody saw that diagram. This also gives me a little bit worried that everybody was sleeping.
No, you're not sleeping. I was just about to ask you if you're talking to a different screen.
Yeah, that's my pity. I'm sorry. Okay, then we do it. I will from now on. I will involve you guys more in the conversation, because the content is packed, and I want to go in one go so that I can create more recordings. But please, guys, interrupt me if something is happening. I just realized that the whole time this screen was visible, and I was showing this screen. Perhaps the recording also was showing this screen. So I have explained a lot of things around this screen, but maybe I will quickly reiterate. So there's this cool guy, picks the phone, calls, it goes through Twilio. The Twilio calls VAPI. So the VAPI world starts somewhere from here to here. Actually, it's the whole thing. The whole thing is encapsulated because the Twilio API calls also happen under the hood through VAPI. So then it comes back to this voice activity detection algorithm combined with this end of utterance detection, or end of turn, ETU as well, OU or ETU, also known as ETU, end of turn, end of turn detection, ETD. So this piece of software basically understands when to start the next step or the next call to ChatGPT. And then it is transcribed, it is sent to the ChatGPT, and then the response comes back from ChatGPT. And then it goes back to Twilio, and then Twilio sends it back through the voice over IP, and then it goes through GSM, and then it comes to my phone. Okay, since my phone number is acquired now, I will go and now call using my phone. It's just that phone number I'm picking from the screen. I'm gonna show you guys this on my phone. Okay. Now I'm calling this number.
Server rejected assistance request webhook. Error.
Okay, still the setup needs to be done. This might be a problem that you guys may also encounter.
Request webhook. Error.
Okay, again, it's giving a webhook error. Maybe it's because I have too many phone numbers, whatever reason. But this never happened to me before, so I'm now. One thing that may happen or will happen is that you only can call this phone number once. And there is no good UI that shows you that, hey, your billing is done. You need to put your credit card. It's a bug on VAPI's website. You can only call the phone number once, and then the second time you call, it just doesn't work. It just turns off the phone. So keep that in mind. If somebody's phone number is not working, then tell them that they need to buy it. They need to put the credit card information. But how exactly the UI works is like this. So you call the number. I'm going to call the other number.
Hi, Mom. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm glad to hear that. I'm just a program.
So it's just a phone number, ChatGPT, and all the tools connected to them. Any questions so far? So we did a VAPI voice agent, and then yes, Yannick.
Yeah, so regarding costs, I mean, you already said it, everything costs money. I think that's fair enough. But I think some people were concerned regarding calling the American number from a German phone number.
Yeah.
Like what the cost would be associated with that. Would that just be the carrier cost?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think for most German numbers, it's quite expensive to call an American number. So from what I've seen online tutorials where they use a German Twilio number, which apparently is quite easy to acquire. Also,
Yeah, but
a landline, for example.
Yeah, but that requires extra steps. We already have like, I don't know, 60 or 70 steps to cover. So I don't want to integrate German numbers. What you could do is like just show them. I will keep that in mind in the slides and on the big stage. I will tell them that this is how you get the numbers so that you go hands-free. That's the whole point. Like when you're cycling, you have your AirPods. This is how you can do it. How you get a German number? Easy. You YouTube it. There are a lot of tutorials that explains that. Maybe until then, if I found time, I will create a separate YouTube video on how to acquire a German phone number with Twilio. Then we can cover that. But other than that, you can, during the workshop, you can use the web button. There's a button on the web page that doesn't cost anything. You can use that.
Okay.
Speaking of that, Mikhail, maybe we'll come to that in just a second. You have a question. Speaking of that, especially when we have like 120 people in the room, only one time I will let them like 3, 2, 1, everybody press the talk button now, and then it's like droop, droop, droop. They can talk like this, but most often they can use the chat to test. So this talking mode may not be nice because everybody else is sitting with them. You can also use this chat window in order to test things out, in order to kind of like work with your chatbot. And then this response is exactly the same response, but it's just not talking. So you can talk about that. Michael?
Yeah, I was having the same comment as Yannick. So you should probably warn the participants to call that number, just if they're not aware that they don't have the US covered, which probably most people haven't.
Yeah.
But I would also agree that we shouldn't cover Twilio or everything. I've looked it up, should be easy, should be about maybe €2 a month, but it's another complication. So
yeah, it's another step.
I follow up or some discussion that you want to have.
I have a masterclass in Deep Tech Momentum on 14th of May. So I have only tomorrow in front of me, and I have to do a lot of other stuff. If I found time, I will record a video about how to add Twilio German phone number, and then I'll leave it there. But yeah,
I will also try it myself because I just saw 10 minutes before the call. I saw Yannick's comment.
Yeah.
I will then try out and maybe tell during the session that how easy it is.
You started from here, okay?
One question I have to Api, Emma, you just said that only one call is free. Is that what you said?
Yes. So when
because I tried I did the whole. I listened to your whole workshop yesterday.
Okay.
Did the implementation, and I called it multiple times. I didn't use Twilio. I used Skype because I still have some Skype credits.
Oh. Okay, then it's because the Skype call, maybe the incoming call I was using was German phone number.
I don't know, because I also see the VAPI free account is actually giving you 1,000 3 minutes. Maybe that's the
Well,
actual feature.
that is generous from them, like 1,000 minutes. But this is something we discovered in the last workshop, that only one call goes through. The second call doesn't go through. When you update your credit card, then it opens. But it
Okay.
could be that it was the phone number, that the roaming phone number. When a German phone call calls you, you also have incoming roaming. So maybe when you were using Skype to call the number, then it was not triggering that particular workflow. Anyways, so that is how you create your VAPI phone number in VAPI Assistant. We'll come back to VAPI tools that will basically trigger the email reading, email composing, and blah, blah, blah. Now let's go to N8N and discover some stuff there. So N8N is an amazing company, like 2019. Since 2019, they're building it. It's a Berlin-based company. I believe something like $55 million in funding. Recently, they raised 55 million. Yeah, Series B. No, 80 million actually. Recently, like literally in March 2025, they raised 55 million as their Series B, but in total, $80 million funded company. I believe they're already profitable. I'm not sure about that, but it's a stable company. The tech is good. The people are good. I'm in contact with them. They're actually having a small sponsorship on this workshop. They're paying for the venue cost. Although I had problems finding sponsors, which is very, very ironic, and I'm really worried about the future of AI and the future of Europe as a whole when it comes to AI, because I'm doing this 100% volunteer. I spend at least 100 hours per workshop. At least the last workshop I spent 50 hours. This workshop I at least spend like 100 hours. And yet I cannot get a sponsor easily. But anyways, that's a topic for another time. So we have this platform which we'll be using most of the time, and it can do a lot of things. Like, it really makes your life easier to build almost any sort of backend, but AI-related workflows, yes, definitely. And it's not open source. A lot of people think it is open source, but this is not open source. If you see something on GitHub, it does not mean it is open source. It's a new type of a license that actually the founder himself, don't know what's the founder's name, Christian Sebastian or something, he actually coined this term called fair source. Fair source is a new way of licensing, and it basically puts you, I don't know if it is that website or not, but I checked it literally no, it's not, it's a company. Doesn't matter. So fair source is like, you have to end up paying them some license fees when you fork it and you put it on your infrastructure. Perhaps they're
No, it's actually, maybe I should step in here because I found this quite remarkable. The name of the CEO is Jan Oberhauser. He built this tool himself, and he pushed this fair code forward. And
fair code, yeah.
Yeah, and the point is that you can use everything for free. You can even start your own forge if you want. You have to pay a license once you're using it commercially.
Right.
Either the original code or the new fork or whatever. Once you start earning money, that's how I would read this, you have to pay a license fee to N8N.
That's right. Exactly. That's the version I wrote. Exactly this website. This is the website I was looking for. So Jan, what was his name? Jan
Oberhauser.
Exactly, this guy. Yeah, the CEO of N8N. So I got to know about this term in January, February 2023 when I was running my startup. In this fair code term and the way that this is managed, perfect way to go on. And I think a lot of other companies are also doing this. Another one that I really love the most is Excalidraw. Also I'm not sure if this is the same concept. I think Excalidraw is 100%. the license of totally detour. Sorry for that. It's an MIT license. It's 100% free. Excalidraw is this drawing tool that I'm using on a daily basis. Anyways, so let's go back to our NA10. I have an NA10 instance on emilsire.com, so I will use that one, but you can sign up for your own and then go on and do that. So I believe that you guys are a little bit advanced users, so I will skip all the workshop steps that I will use, like what does that menu, what's that, where to search, where to zoom in, and so on. So I'll jump in directly to a workflow that I can build. So the first thing I will do is I'll build a super simple chatbot. Yes, Naveed?
I think you are sharing wrong. Or
Oh yeah, sorry. Hi Naveed, how are you?
Oh, I do.
Good to see you.
Just for the edit, I think for the edit also people can just host it on the VPS for free, kind of for doing in practice. If like if people that's a company.
Yes, this is right now running on emilsire.com. You can see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is that version that is running locally on my VPS. Yeah.
I did it myself. Cool.
Wonderful. Okay, so what we will do here is I have a lot of nodes that I will cover, even custom nodes and so on. So that graphic that I said, I will create a Figma graphic where I'll show all the nodes that we'll cover, but I will go super fast because I see that time is running and we don't have a lot of time. I'm going to put a chat window here, and I'm going to put a AI agent. And I will, please tell me if it's too fast and I will optimize, okay? And then now what I have done is I basically build myself a chat interface. If I say hi, it's going and then it is responding back. What is the population of Germany? It will tell me the population of Germany from the cutoff of October 2023. Now, there's a problem here. If I refresh the page and I start chatting, I say, hi, my name is Emil. It goes on, it greets hi, and then if I say, what is my name? It doesn't know it. Why? Because it doesn't have memory. And whenever we have an AI agent, these are the three core components of an AI agent. It should have some intelligence, which in this case is ChatGPT. It should have some memory, and it should have a tool to execute on that. So I'm going to go and add a memory. I'll call it simple memory. There could be long-term memories like RAG pipelines and so on out of the context of this workshop. Now, if I say hi, it greets with me. I say hi, my name is Emil. It will greet with me. And if I say, what is my name? It will know my name. It will say your name is Emil. Why? Because it's buffering it here. Okay? So that's the memory part. The tool part is basically most of the things that we will do. It could be storing things in a Google Docs. It could be reading things from a Google Doc, which we did in March. It could be creating an email and so on and so forth. So that's a very, very simple, quick explanation of small details of NA10. So I will call it like this, example 1, 2, 3, and then we will carry on so that if we have to go back to something, then we can pick something back. Now I'm going to explain webhooks. Maybe we can descriptively name them so that we can, out of the box, know what is that. So AI agent example. Is there any questions that I should answer here, or can I go on? There are a lot to come, like defining the system prompt and so on. We will cover that in the next steps. But if there is one, please let me know. I can explain. Okay, so the next step is that I would like to explain what is a webhook. There is a so-called trigger A trigger has this little sign next to it. Okay. A webhook is basically your API. Let's turn that into a post endpoint and start listening to it. It has a URL. I copy that, go to my postman, and then I paste this, change this to post, and in the body, make it a little bit bigger so that I can see these. Oops. I'm gonna send some raw data, a JSON, and I'm gonna send A and B. If I send this, I can see that I got back a response in 400 milliseconds. That's a 200. And the payload says workflow was started. That's nice, okay. Now, if I go to my workflow, I'll see that entire payload came here. And I see that payload of A and B in the body of the request in here, okay? Super simple, 101. Now, what can I do with this payload? I can take it, process it, do anything I want with it. How about we make an endpoint that summarizes things? Okay, let's do that. I take an AI agent, I put a model to it, OpenAI model, this one. And that's it. I don't need memory for this because it's a one-shot. It's an endpoint. I send some text, it summarizes it and sends it back to me. And then I say that, all right, the payload, let's decide on the payload. The payload could be article, for example. And here I need an article. Let's go from the internet, find some article about AI agents. I'm going to pick the first one I find. And it is, let's take like, well, let's take the whole thing, okay? Let's go to ChatGPT and clean this up so that I can at least send it a little bit clean that can be summarized later on. Okay. Meanwhile, it's generating. I will go on in here and explain one more thing. We have a thing called here respond to webhook. What is respond to webhook? It is a specific workflow in N8N that can connect to usually to the end of the workflow. And when you have a webhook, you can choose one of these three options from this webhook. When the request comes to this webhook, you respond immediately or you respond based on this respond webhook. I choose this one. And now, when the request comes here, this processing happens and then the response goes out. It won't happen like this, that it took 400 milliseconds. Why it took 400 milliseconds? Because it went to, the moment it triggered it, it went back down. It responded. It immediately responded. I don't want that. I want the summary to finish from ChatGPT, API call, and then I send this request. So therefore, I change that setting. All right, so let's go to our ChatGPT. I think it's done. I'm gonna copy the whole thing. Not sure if I can do this, but let's try it out. Yeah, no, I can't because it has line breaks. I need to do some vibe coding now. Let's put this whole thing here. Or maybe I can create the payload.json here. So cursor now will clean it up for me and then I'll take it back to, oh, it's a misunderstanding. No, don't create an optimized JSON. Just take the whole text, put it inside one element that's called article, and that's it. I just want you to put the /ns and make a valid JSON out of this entire text. Yeah, that's something like that. So meanwhile, this is going on. Let's go back to our NA10 workflows and see this. Okay, this is a core concept that we'll be needing, so that webhooks can wait so that they can finish this work and then just send it back. Other than that, let's give it a name. If I run quickly, question, 14 people. Let me see if I can run a poll. Is this okay? Please raise your hand if this speed is not okay. Raise your hand if this speed is not okay, if it's too fast. Or too slow. I mean, in both cases, raise your hand and then please unmute yourself and then tell me if I should slow down or speed up. Okay. No raise hands. That's a good point. So we got ourselves this payload. I'm going to use this payload in my Postman to send a request to this thing here. Okay. I got the article. It's in the payload. I'm going to send it here to this one like this. If I send this request, you can see that it is running, but it will fail here. Let's find out why it's failing, because it doesn't know anything about this. So when you define a system prompt, you can click on define below. And then in almost every text box, you see the same thing, fixed or expression. When it's expression, it's basically a JavaScript expression that you can do. Right now, I will do a simple prompt. It's not 100% JavaScript. It's kind of like you can write JavaScript inside the curly braces. Like when you put these curly braces twice, then this is a JavaScript expression. Can you please summarize the following text? Make the summary super small and try to make it as fluent as possible. Don't put markdown, don't put new lines, no punctuations, no nothing, so that it can easily be read by a text-to-speech model. It should be readable by machine. Oh, that was a bad idea. Machine is something else. Okay, and here I already have the article and the payload. I'm going to drag and drop it like this. This is one way to do it. The other way is that you can put these curly braces, not braces, but brackets, the curly brackets. And then you see this menu, this IntelliSense, that you can go back and forth. And JSON is that payload that encapsulates everything. So we are looking for JSON.body.payload, I think, .article. That's it. All right. And you can see that the result goes here. I can click on this test button in order to see what is there. There we go. It just made it like this, but it didn't understand my point. It's still making these headlines, and this will not be possible to be read by TTS. This is basically prompt engineering 101. In this particular example, I'm not optimizing it for being read by Samantha. I'm just trying to show what's a webhook. So we'll ignore the prompt engineering part for now. Oh, sorry, this is the output. That was the input. That was the MD was coming from the input. So the output is correct. My prompt actually worked. So it is a fluent text. A TTS can easily read this for me. Okay, so that worked. That's fine. Now let's test this out. If I run it this time, it will run the whole thing, and I'll get the summary of this back. So let's take a step back and think about this. Like literally, I had a full-fledged endpoint here that I can use Postman to send it over, and I could put this together in like 2 minutes. This is a full-fledged backend. It's a backend as a service with a lot of superpowers. This platform is going to go through the roof in a couple of years. N8N will have a lot of use cases because now software development becomes democratized. And almost everybody can build software, and that's very powerful. That means a lot of workflows will become super easy. People will become super efficient, and then since people will become super efficient, companies will become super efficient, and economies will emerge. Yes, Farah?
Can you hear me? I think there's a lot of noise.
Okay, I saw your question is, what is the difference between N8N and Langflow? Well, to be honest, I don't know Langflow. I know LangChain and LangGraph. Langflow is the first time I'm hearing this. Stop fighting your tools. Okay, it's kind of like similar tool like N8N. I don't know Langflow, so I cannot make a statement about what's the difference between them. Probably Langflow is a similar company that I'm just checking.
Yeah, it feels something similar that you
Yeah,
can
I
pull
can
things together and create something.
the website. Yeah, it's something I've never tried, so I don't know. I have to check it. I have I intentionally don't want to see it because I have a YouTube playlist that is called Sire's First Look. I give my first look to these cool tools. Thank you for introducing me to Langflow. I'll check them out. Okay, any questions about webhooks? Then we move on to the next topic. I'll give another 30 seconds if you are having questions about webhooks. Then we go to the next topic. Okay, then let's go to the next topic, which is a little bit complicated, and a lot of people are going to get stuck in this particular workflow, which is creating a Google API request. If you're doing it from a self-hosting, it's a little bit, the workflow is a little bit different. If you're doing it from N8N, the workflow is a little bit different. And actually, the workflow is super, super easy. So let's do it first with the N8N workflow. And then we will go and do it with the other workflow. Okay, so this is my N8N instance, not the instance that's running on my emailsire.com. And I will show you how to integrate your Gmail inbox. Let me see if my Gmail inbox has any private emails at the moment. Otherwise, then I'll send another email so that is on the top. It's a good idea to just send an email to myself. It's just about a privacy thing. Okay, so test email to champions is a test email body. Okay, I should receive this email in a minute here. Okay, so the first step is usually the trigger step, right? Now in here I have a Gmail trigger that goes and says on message received. Okay, on message received. If I click on this, I will be greeted with this kind of a screen where I have already an account registered, but if I want to create a new credential, you can see this button here, right? If I go with the same workflow, but on my emailsire.com instance, you will see a little bit different one. Let's do that. and I want to create a new one, you will see that I need to put this client ID and client secret. So we will cover both of them because we don't know who has which kind of workflow, okay? This one is easy. You just click it, you authenticate, and everything goes on, you're done. Why? Because N8N is already an approved application on Google platform. And emailsire.com, it is not, therefore we need to do a lot of steps, and I'll cover both of them. So now emailsire.com is there. I can go and pull data from my email every 1 minute or every 1 hour, day, week, month, or custom. If I do custom, every X is basically every X what minute, like 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, and so on. But this is interesting that if you are a developer and you know what's a cron expression, you can literally write cron expressions here. In order to know what's a cron expression, you can know it from this tooltip, or you can Google or ChatGPT it, and then you can write a ChatGPT response, something like this. Can you write me a cron expression that is for the following? Every first Friday at 7 p.m. Every first Friday of the month at 7 p.m. So I want to write that kind of a cron expression, and that's a very complex cron expression. I don't want to write it myself. LLM writes it for me. I come over here, paste it here. Now this will, every first Friday of the month at 7 p.m. it will fetch the emails from there. So therefore I say that N8N is a powerful tool because it has everything. In this particular workshop, we keep it as every minute, okay? Now if I click on fetch email, it will go to my email and then it will bring this email that I've created right now. Test email to champions from email to emailsire, but from emailsire.com. So I have these two email inboxes. I used one email inbox to send this email to the other one. And the body of this is inside snippets. And it says, this is a test email body, okay? We're gonna play around with this email for the rest of this. So we have this thing running in here. What can we do with that email? What else can we do when we receive emails? We can label them. We can do a spam filter on them. We can think about a workflow that if it is from Martin, then go and do a phone call to me. So you can imagine you can build a workflow that you put a filter, a wide list of people that are very important. And if they send you an email, you receive a phone call on your phone. It's Samantha telling you that, hey, Martin just emailed you and he says that the bot is down. Can you please double check? So it's actually an actual example. Not the bot is down, but the Martin. Because I built this bot.deeptechmomentum.de, and it's one of my recent creations, if you can see it here. And I love it. It's for Deep Tech Momentum. If you guys know this conference happening in Berlin, and I have a nice masterclass about the same concept, voice AI agents and vibe coding in 2 days. Okay. Any questions so far about fetching emails using the Gmail trigger? No? Okay. So that is using on N8N. Let's go and do it with the hard way, with the workflow that needs a lot of configurations. Fetch emails. So where did I have my n8n.emailsire.com? So this one, if I go and put a workflow here, it's gonna ask me to put this client ID and blah, blah, blah. So if I put a workflow here on message received, I need to create a credential like that. When I create this credential, I don't see that OAuth2 button in here. And the reason is because this domain name or this app is not published on Google, but anything is, so therefore that is working. So let's go on and create this. How do you get the client ID and client secret? Go to GCP console, then go to this link, and then create a project if you don't have one. First, make sure you select the right email address, and then you create a new project. I'm going to create a new project here. I'll just call it Samantha project. Create. It will take a few seconds to create the project. Once the creation process is completed, then you have to select the project. Make sure that the project is in the selected area. And then you go here in consent screen, OAuth consent screen, and then click on Get Started. Give it a name. Samantha project, I don't know. And then give this email address that you want to use. Click internal, next. I'll give the same email address. And then finish, continue, create. That's it. A lot of people rush it and they go back and it doesn't work. But when you go to clients, then create client ID, select web. You can give that. This authorized redirect URIs is the URL that N8N provides to you when you're connecting this. So basically this one. Click this, go back here, add it in here. Once you add it, then you have this client ID and client secret. These are supposed to be secret, but this is just an educational content. I'm going to delete it anyways later. So I'm going to copy in front of you and paste it here, but it's supposed to be kept secret. Now only I can get this sign-in button. But there is a pitfall. A lot of people fall in that pitfall. I will go in that wrong direction so that I can show you that this could be a problem that people are facing because people want to test it out fast and they miss one very crucial step. They click on this, they go there, you sign up, and then you give this permission, and then you are connected. But the connection may fail due to one very crucial part, which is not registering this audience place in this internal user type. If you see that somebody's email is not working, they see this 403 error, then you need to come over here and then add a user in this place with their name. With their email address, smartbees.io. Okay? And then they will jump over that pitfall. Okay. Now we sign in successfully with this account every 3 minutes. Let me see if I don't have any. No, I don't have any other email. I fetch the emails and I see this forbidden one. Oh, nice. This is another pitfall. A lot of people rush. They see this error, but if you see, it's saying that it's disabled. Something is disabled. Enable it by visiting this link. What is disabled? By default, all the APIs are disabled. So if I go to Gmail API in Google Cloud Platform, you'll find it disabled. You need to enable it. That's the whole thing. Like, yeah, just click enable. You're done. You go on with the next step. I'll wait just for a minute for this to finish. It is done. Apparently, this fetch test should work now. There we go. It fetched, and it brought to me that email called test email to champions and the body of that snippet in here. All right. Now I have created a Gmail trigger that receives emails every minute. Any questions?
Can you also read emails that have attachments like PDF files and extract content from there?
Yeah, that's possible. In worst case, if you do not get that kind of a feature from NA10, then you can do custom workflows, which we will see in the future lessons. I have already recorded those features, but you can literally take one workflow, go to your Node.js, execute something there, and then come back. Like literally, this code was for that reason. Like literally, I just did this Hello World, but I was explaining this around this same concept. Iterating through emails, finding PDFs, even reading the PDFs of inside of them, OCR, like running an OCR over the documents, regardless of PDFs. That can happen. It's a PDF. Inside the PDF, it's an image, and still you can run Mistral OCR and then extract all of that content. And then you basically build a better search engine that has access to your PDF files that can run much faster. All right. Any questions so far?
Just to clarify here, it's every minute we fetch emails from, and we also can fetch multiple emails, and those will be only new emails, or how we filter them?
That's a good question. The next step that I'm going to show you is caching emails. We'll check it there. Like since you have like this, it's a normal polling concept in software engineering. You do the logic on your end. We have a problem that we have to resolve. I'll show it how do you do that, but the same logic of that applies to new emails as well. We will only dump emails. Let me show you on the whiteboard. So the workflow that we're going to make in a minute is this email ingestion workflow. New emails comes every minute, and then we store it in Supabase, in the database. And we want to store only one type of that, not, we don't want to duplicate them. So this is coming. And that logic is super similar to detecting only the new ones. It is actually only storing the new ones, so it's the same concept. We'll just see that in a minute. Okay, any questions so far? Before I go to the ingestion pipeline, which requires a little bit more work and database and so on, I'd like to come in here and compose an email, because then I can interface the voice interface, the VAPI, with you guys. With the NA10, and then this will be a cooler example, and then from there we can go on to the next one. Just give me a second, please. I'm back. Okay, so let's go. We know now how to fetch emails. Let's go and know how to create emails, how to compose a draft email. So I'm going to call it champions draft emails. Emails. Okay, so I need to do something to draft it. So I'm going to just click it. For now, I'm just going to trigger it with a click. And I'm going to go and create a draft. Okay, I create a draft with that email. That's fine. That's fine. The subject of this is drafting an email to champions. The type is text. The body of the email goes here. Okay. I just save it and then leave it there. I'm going to go and open my draft folder and clean it up. Okay, I have it here running. If I run the test, it executes, and then in my inbox, I should see a draft email happening now, if it's the right inbox. Yep, here we go. So 419, the title and the body. Now I want to interface this with voice. How can I do that? It's very simple. You remove this, and then you put a trigger called webhook that we have done before, like literally the entire workflow that we did, and then we just tested it here. Or maybe I will take it one step at a time. One step from Postman, the other step connected with VAPI, so that you guys can take it one bit at a time, and then that way you'll know it much better. So I'm gonna create a post endpoint, and I'm gonna create the post to wait for this thing. And once the endpoint is done, I mean the drafting of the email is done, and then I'm gonna respond back here with whatever came back. Maybe not whatever, but I want to send a specific JSON here saying that success, it is done, or whatever payload that I want to send back to this particular workflow. Okay. Now, I need to get the subject and the body from the payload, right? That's nice. I'm going to get that. Let's run this workflow in test mode, take the URL, and then go to the Postman, paste this, and then the payload can be subject. I will be late. Body. Sorry, I will be late. I'm stuck in a traffic rush. And send. It won't work off the shelf. Why? Because we still need to wire them up. We need to take these two things from this payload. Subject goes to subject. I need to remove this one and make it expression. Drag and drop subject. Remove that one. Drag and drop body. Now I wire them up. If I click on test, it works. The draft is created. And if I go to my email inbox, I should see a new draft email that says, I'll be late. I'm stuck in traffic. Nice. Now let's test this end-to-end by running it like this and looking at it like this. So I'll be late again. I'm stuck in traffic rush again, just so that we can distinguish the two. It worked, and I should see an email popping up in my draft. There we go. That one is again, that was the other one. There we go. All right. So now we have an endpoint, an API that we can call from VAPI in order to create this email. Perfect. So what I will do is I will take this entire thing, this entire endpoint. I'll go to my VAPI dashboard, open the dashboard. And then this is the time when we create a tool. So we create a tool for drafting an email, basically. So I will call it draft email champ. Maybe I will paste this first and then prompt it here. Use this tool in order to create a draft email. Okay, that's it. Pretty much that. I save this. You can see here when I pasted the URL for the server URL in here, I also have parameters to pass. So these parameters can be a subject. This is the subject of the draft email. The LLM will use this actually to pick those pieces of information from the conversation that's going back and forth between the voice bot and myself. And I will add one more column here. I'll call it subject, body. Did we call it actually body, or what was it? Yeah, body, subject body. This is the body of the draft email. So based on this metadata that I'm putting in here, the LLM under the hood will understand it, extract it from the conversation we are having, and then send it over to this endpoint. So this will turn into a payload like this. And since my workflow is already running and listening to this, it will work off the shelf without a problem. So let's check this out. So we still need to do one more thing in our VAPI dashboard. In order for this to work, we have to go to the assistant menu, then the Samantha that we have created earlier. And then I'm not sure how to, yeah, that's nice. I'm just gonna zoom it out. And then we go to the tabs, tools, and then from the tools, select the draft email chimp tool that we have created just now. We select that, we associate this model with this tool, and since all those descriptions were there, when the LLM runs, it knows that, okay, the conversation is telling me to create a draft email. I'm going to take that information, extract it, put it in this payload, send it to VAPI. To n8n. So n8n is now running. I start talking to this. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Can you please compose a draft email for John Doe and mention that I will be super, super late. I am stuck in an airplane, chaos at Berlin airport, and the subject of this should have urgent on the top of it, and mention that the workshop asked to be delayed for 3 hours. Is that possible? So please send it over to like draft email tool that you have access to it. Oh, I see. I forgot to publish. I believe this is a small UX that VAPI engineers can enhance because I don't have to publish for this to work. I think that's the case, but let's check it out. I'm doing good, thank you. Can you draft a quick email to John and mention that I'll be 3 hours late for the workshop? Is there any chance that we can fill that gap with someone else? There is a big chaos happening in Berlin airport. Wonderful. Did you guys see that? Like literally when I say that, let's say it will just take a sec and then it send the payload. Let's check out what happened here when it was creating it. Basically, the payloads change a little bit because the payload we send from here is different than the payload VAPI sends us. So VAPI sends us body, message, timestamp, 2 calls, blah, blah, blah. And we send ourselves, or our Gmail inbox was looking for this kind of a clean payload, not a payload coming from VAPI. So now that's an easy fix. We go on and clean this out, and then we find where is the subject. The subject is here. You can also search it like this. You can just say, here is the subject. Oh, it doesn't have one. Apparently, it sent a wrong payload to us. It should contain subject and body. perfect example that we can kind of like take this opaque data. It has all the conversation that I expected VAPI to clean up and send it to me. But perfect example. We're not gonna undo this. We're gonna fix this example live here. What we need to do, we have got this kind of a payload. And this payload is just basically a lot of conversation happening between a person and a bot. The content that we can create an email from this is already there. So what's the right way of doing it? The best way would be the way that I have recorded the YouTube tutorials for, which is kind of like cleaning it up on VAPI, sending only clean payload to NA10. But I will quickly cover this way to how to get something opaque, clean it up, give it to the next node, and then we'll go and see what's wrong with VAPI. Okay, Ranjan, thanks. Okay. Then let's go. I'll quickly check what could be the issue. Okay, no, I don't see any issues here, unless this assistant do not have. Maybe I can also do a little bit prompting here. Use the tool called, what was the tool called? Draft Email Champ. Let's give it another try before we try that opaque thingy, and then we'll see how it goes. Okay. So we have the assistant in here. Let's load this one in here. On which one was it? We can know from here which one was it. It was on emilsire.com. So let's go to nathan.emilsire.com. Then draft emails. Let's run this out. Let's keep this connection as it was. And okay, one more try. I'm doing good. Can you draft an email for John and mention that I will be late in coming for the workshop? I have a problem with the Berlin airport. Okay, it sent the payload. Let's check the payload here. If it now has the body and the message. No, it still did not have it. I'll have to check why it does not understand the payload that I have given it. But these are pretty young companies, so you can expect a little bit of problems in their UI and so on. And this gives us a very good reason to do the cleanup on our side, okay? So we're gonna do a little bit cleanup here. What we'll do is we're gonna add from here an AI agent, and we'll define a prompt here, which would be create a simple payload of an email from the following JSON payload. The email output should be just subject and body, nothing else, and respond only in JSON format. And here I will not take the header, it's not needed. I think all the messages is needed because there is a full conversation going on, and then the bot will know what to do with this. So it's going to be JSON dot body.message. Okay. And if we quickly look at this, there is a small bug in N8. And there are a lot of bugs, but this is a very important bug. Please pay attention. This is a very important one. So sometimes you're accessing an object, and this gives you like just the big object, not stringified object in your expression. And you see this thing, object, object. The solution for this is to write just one small little JavaScript statement, json.stringify. So json.stringify, stringify. All right. And then now you see that the entire payload is printed out there for the LLM to extract an email from that. If I execute this, then yes, we don't have a model. I will put a model here quickly. And let's try it out again. And there we go. We got some output here. I will just look at the output like this. And then you can see here the JSON comes out like this. This is not a good way to do the JSON outputs. Why? Because we have function calling. This is ChatGPT 3.5. For that, we have something called structured outputs. This particular one required specific output. And then that specific output is something that you define in your structured output or output parser. So you can see now this AI agent has 4 legs, not 3 legs anymore. Chat model, memory, tool output, and output parser. So we're going to do some output parsing here. Structured output parser is the one that we need. And in this moment, we're going to do some so-called a format, a meta, a schema formatting. So a schema formatting is something like this. This is the perfect moment that I can switch into vibe coding a little bit. I can write the schema myself. This is a JSON schema. Or I can use AI. You can read here that the schema has to be defined in the JSON schema format. And look at this page for examples. So what is JSON schema? It's a standard way of writing metadata. I think it's a W3. What is it? I don't know. It's a very strong standard. Like everybody uses it. Or I can go in and read these examples and find out how to create one. Or I can do this. I can take a screenshot of this and go to my ChatGPT, paste it there, and then ask this question. Can you please create a very simple JSON schema for an email having subject and body? So basically, in this case, we are creating a JSON schema by ChatGPT that we can copy paste. Any questions so far? Do you guys need a break? Okay, so now we got this JSON schema having a subject type string, that's object, and both of them are required. I'm going to click on copy and come here and paste it in this object structure. And that's pretty much it. I go out. Now from this API call, I'm expecting this to run and give me some structured output. There we go. And that structured output is subject, workshop delay notification. Body, dear John, I want to inform you, blah, blah, blah. Now if I connect these two together, my Gmail will have clear fields that I can drag and drop like this. And also the body comes from here like this. Now, if I test this, it should create an email draft for me, and a new email draft for me that sits in here. Workshop delay notification, 439, 439, and it's perfectly well organized like this. Okay, time to do this with voice. Now I'm gonna keep okay, I'm gonna do this. We have this gentleman going here. Well, we can do it this way because then we can, yeah, we can switch because the talking part will work anyways. So I'm starting the talking part. I'm doing great. How are you? Yes, I would like to draft an email to the Berlin AI champions and thank them for their volunteer work for running this workshop I have on 17th of May. It's an incredible help they're doing because running a workshop with 120 people is almost impossible alone. Now with their presence, we'll make sure that we can support a whole lot of people, and most of the participants could get some value out of the workshop. Can you please create a draft email for this for me? So basically it went there and then it created the draft email and executed. It said that it didn't work, but we'll see what was the problem in a minute. And I literally could interface that with a phone. That means this email that you see in front of you was created purely with voice and on the go. Thank you for your support in the workshop, dear Berlin AI champions. I hope this message finds you well, blah, 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 with a proper email signature and everything. And I think that's so cool. All right, let's take a small overall review of what we have done so far. Maybe before we do the review, let's find out why it doesn't understand. Oh, I see what's the problem. Why it doesn't understand. Because, thank you, Mikhail. The reason it doesn't understand is because this payload is not understandable by VAPI. We need to send a proper payload to VAPI that says that, yeah, this is created, go on with your next step. And that we will do when we are doing the reading part of the emails. And the reading part of the email is using Supabase as a database and caching and so on. So we'll do that after a small break. So let's take a small break, like 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll come back. A small bio break. Any questions so far? No? Then I can come back in 5 minutes. All right, guys, we are gradually resuming. Please give me some emojis if you're back, so I know I have some audience and we can resume for the sake of questions. Otherwise, it's being recorded anyway, so good, good. Okay, just for the sake of time, I'm going to resume in efficiency. I'm not only living in Germany for 10 years, but I also work with Germans in Afghanistan for 7 years. So efficiency is a thing, but not in the context of Deutsche Bahn. All right, so I think I shared again the wrong screen. Okay, so we have basically created a voice interface that is available on a phone call that you can use Siri to call, and it can compose an email and leave it there in your draft folder. That used to be science fiction. Now it's reality. It's amazing to be a builder at this time. All right, so I'm gonna carry on with the next step. So we are literally done with the not ingestion 100%. The Supabase is done, not done. We are done with the compose workflow entirely, interfacing it as well. So let's focus on reading. If we want to create like a reading experience, and I ask Samantha to read my emails, it will need to be cached somewhere, architecturally speaking. It has to be saved somewhere because it's not a good idea to retrieve emails live from anywhere. The number of requests will be too much. For the email ingestion, and also a lot of other ideas you can think of, like if you ingest the emails, then you have it in the database, and then you can run a lot of other workflows on this. For example, you can run a labeling thing for this. Then you need a payload, then you can pull it again. For example, you may need to run a pipeline that checks the content of it for any legal problems, legal complications, legal compliance issues, and so on. And then you'll label it like a legal label. So you can do a lot of things. Therefore, it makes sense to save it somewhere before you use it back, instead of like always directly fetching it from Gmail. All right. But you can also do it directly from Gmail. There's no bad point on that. But I just want to make this workflow a little bit complicated. So not complicated, but comprehensive is the right word I was looking for. So that we can think about this, that complex architectures like this can be done with N8N. Okay, then let's go and start the email ingestion with a Supabase entry. Before going there, I would like to spend some time and tell you guys what is Supabase. Supabase is a suite of software that includes a database, authentication, so-called edge functions. That's a serverless API that can scale to millions of users. It's an open source alternative to Firebase by Google. It uses a so-called Postgres database under the hood. It's a hybrid database. It's not a NoSQL. It is hybrid, and you can store JSON, you can store structured data. So it's the best of the two worlds. And additionally, it has this vector database feature. That means you can create RAG pipelines with Supabase. So I'm really a big fan of Supabase. Although in my crash course that I just finished alongside with the crash course of this this workshop. I didn't use Supabase for a very good reason. It's just you need to know which tools to use when. But let's go on. You create an account on Supabase. When you create an account, you need to create a project. You create a project, then your project needs to have certain tables. What's a table? Imagine a table is a spreadsheet, but better. And then you create a table. My table is called now emails, and that's absolutely fine. And then let's actually drop this table and then create it again so that you guys can see that user experience. And then if somebody is looking for that, then they know how to create a table. So from here, you can create a table. You can click on new table.
I don't think we see your screen yet, Emma.
Oh, yeah?
I think you didn't share your screen yet.
Yeah, sure. No, dang it. I think it dropped. It was running. But
Okay.
yeah, cool that you mentioned. Thank you. So you need to go to table editor first, and then click on new table, and then you basically create a table for yourself. Let me double check what's wrong with that. Refresh. Unable to find table with ID. It's trying to go to that table that I just deleted. If I go and click on new table, why is it not creating? Table doesn't exist. Yeah, that's fine. But please create a new table for me. I'm clicking on this, nothing happens. Okay, then let's go back one step and let's create a new project. Let's. This is anyways the step that I will follow on the screen on the day of the workshop. So let's go through the entire steps. So you need to create a project. I'm gonna call this Samantha project. You need to identify what kind of a server capacity you want to give it. I will give it this 2-core CPU ARM. It's okay. Copy the database password. You may need it later. And then click on create new project. I'm sure the question of cost will come again and again, and the answer is yes and yes. So it is setting up the project. Meanwhile, setting up the project, I will quickly go and explain a few things here on our Supabase. Let me check which one that we use. This is Emulsire, that's fine. So we have this structured output parser on Emulsire. Then let's make the next ones also in Emulsire. So I'm going to create here champions email and just email ingestion. Okay. So we will have an email trigger. The email trigger happens whenever I receive a new email. And that happens every minute. That's fine. And after that, I wanted to go to Supabase. How do I connect Supabase is a question. I want to create a row because the entire email will become as one row. How do I connect Supabase? I have some connections. I will create a new connection. You'll need a host URL and a service role secret. So let's go here. Our project is done, created. Now go to the table editor. Let's create a table and then we'll connect the project. Click on here and then type the name of the table as email. Here, add a column called email ID. We need to identify our emails uniquely. Give this as a text. Click another one. This will be the entire email, so I'll call it email. And the data type of this must be JSON. This is the point that I was talking about. It's hybrid. Postgres is an hybrid, so you can see that I can store JSON and text simultaneously, and indexing and triggering and so on. It's a good merger of both SQL and NoSQL databases. Okay, I create this table, and then what's next? Let's go back to our, okay, let's connect this database here, this entire Supabase. Go to project settings, go to data API. From here, copy the entire URL, paste it here. And then from here, copy the reveal the secret. Don't reveal the secret, but you just need to copy it. Copy it, and then that's it. And then now if you connect, it should turn green. Now your Supabase is connected to this workflow. Okay, now what do I do? What do I want to do? I want to receive an email. So let me check my emails. What's on the top of my email addresses? Is any new email arrived, or it's still the email that I have been working on? Okay, we got a new registration from the workshop. Now we have 88 registrations. Since it has a name of a person, I will respect their privacy. Therefore, I will go in my other email and write an email to myself. Testing email ingestion title, testing email ingestion body. Send this email to myself. Make sure that that's the one on the top. Okay, now if I click on this fetch, I expect that email to arrive here. That's nice. Testing email ingestion body, and from these two dudes, and that's it. Now, in here, I can create a new row. I will select email, and then I'll say that, hey, define the columns here. I have an email ID here. I will drag and drop this email ID from here and here. And then I have another column called email. And then this is a little bit bummer. It's an issue with NA10. I don't have a feature to kind of like drag and drop this entire Gmail trigger, you see? There is no way to do that. For that to work, you need to write this. $, sorry, not $, the curly brackets. Then scroll down when you see here this Gmail trigger, and then dot. You can use all. That will give you all of the data that you have inside that node. So that's how you get this thing. Now, if I execute this, it will give me a success message, and this basically executed and saved that information in my database. Where was my database? I think in the same window. So I'm going to switch here, go to the table email, refresh the page. I should have got a new record in this table. I got a new record in this table. This is the email ID I have, and this is the JSON that I have. It's a full-fledged JSON that I stored it inside my Supabase table. Now, what do I want to do next? If I keep this workflow won't work. Why it won't work? Because each time I run it, let's say this was 1 minute. After 1 minute, another time it ran. After 1 minute, another time it ran. Each minute that it runs, it creates a new record in my table. And that's not what I want. This is wrong. This email ID should be unique. Okay? Now let's go and put that unique feature in place. So I received an email. I need to do something here. If that something worked, then I will let this entry happen. Otherwise, I won't. So what do I need to do first? I need to do a so-called Supabase get a row. Okay? Get a row will take from this table. What's the condition? The condition is that the email ID matches this email ID that's coming from this payload. That's it. If I do this and I run the test, it should give me 4 items. Why 4 items? Because we have 4 items in the database with that ID. Okay? This is a happy path. Now I have an option, but let's go from the unhappy path. I'm going to delete all of these rows so that if I run the workflow once, it does not receive any item. If I rerun this, you can see it doesn't receive anything. And then if the workflow runs and then it stores it in the database, and then the next time I run it, and then it shows something. Sorry, it ignores it. It doesn't store it anything. All right, so let's do that. First thing first, if a node do not return anything, by default, NA10 do not show anything, and it stops the execution. But there is this setting that you can turn on that says always output data. Now, if I test it and run it, it outputs this data, but this data is something that I will have to do something with. Perfect timing to talk about code-based elements. Okay, so I have now 1 item coming here. This is another small pitfall that comes from the UX of NA10, and I had to find my way out. If I put a so-called if condition in here, an if condition works with this kind of an idea that, let's say, if this ID, if this field is that, if this then that kind of formula. But it doesn't work with this super-based result. See the bummer? Again, this UX problem. I can't do anything about this. Like, I cannot drag and drop it, so I can check if this object exists or not. I have one option to do this. I can do it this way. I can go and say that, hey, from the super-base object, whatever you have in the super-base object, dot all, what do you have in the super-base object? It's a big object like this, right? But I don't see that object, so that I can take the input or the item or something. And here I see something else. So therefore, it doesn't work. It's a little bit opaque. It's too much abstracted out. I cannot do it with if only. With the if node, it's not possible. I'm gonna keep the if node on the other side. We will need it in a minute. I'll need something else. I need a custom code node. So I will go in the code node. This is the time when we will do a little bit of vibe coding, okay? I am right now on Emil Sire. I'll quickly need to check something on this workflow. And I will get back to the workflow as I'm explaining in just a minute. So, yeah, this feature exists only on their website called Ask AI. So you can do vibe coding right away inside NA10. So unfortunately, we already created everything on the other side. We cannot do that, but there is a way to do that. I'm gonna try it. I'm not prepared for this. It may fail, but doesn't matter. If I go here, I download this. It downloads a JSON file, and that JSON file can be uploaded back in the other workflow where I have this Ask AI. So I'm going to do that. I'm here. I'm going to import from file. This one, upload, import. There we go. It's perfect. I love this. Okay, so here I need to just make sure that I get the right things in place. fetch it. There we go. In the database, this test. Okay, it's just another database. We don't have this connection in this area, so let's connect our database very quickly here. Okay, so our database is also now connected. What else did we want to do? Email, email ID can be what? The email ID coming from the Gmail trigger. Wonderful. And that's it. We have only one filter that pulls that one, the emails inside that thing. So it doesn't have an email, it doesn't do anything. It just sends one item that says like no fields found. Perfect. This is the example that I wanted. Now I have this payload here, and I want to do some vibe coding inside n8n. This is interesting, actually. This is really, really interesting. If you guys can allow me just like 2 seconds. I see a very nice chance for me to create a small video that I can use for my YouTube. Vibe coding inside n8n. It sounds like nice, but I will see if I can do that.
One quick question. When you want to set up, when you have like your N8,
Yeah.
like a VPS, is it like also easy to create the connection to the Supabase? Because I had problem before.
Can you please one more time ask your question? What was
it? Like from your workflow, from your own, basically the N8 hosted on your own VPS, like not on the other N8. When you want to connect it to the Supabase, I remember it was like very challenging. It was not as straightforward. Is it the case, or?
For me, it was easy. For me, it just went through, no problem.
As usual, okay.
I think it can happen that sometimes it depends on how you hosted your Supabase. That can be a bummer. Okay, so I'm gonna pick this microphone. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, test, microphone, camera, 1, 2, 3. Test, microphone, camera, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Emil Sire. I love this feature in n8n. Now I can do vibe coding literally inside n8n. What I want to do now is I have a small workflow here, which I will be using in my workshop on 17th of May. A trigger of a Gmail that triggers and then brings this email for me, and then a Supabase table retrieval that basically checks this Supabase database table called email, and it's just sitting there, this table basically right here. And if it has a matching email ID, it brings it back. But there is a small bummer. I cannot check if that that particular Supabase node has any response if I use the normal if conditions. How? I will show you here. If I do this, I don't see any way to get this thing here and check it. And neither I can do this. Like if I take the entire Supabase 1, what do I do with this? What is it? Is it an object that exists? If I take object that is empty, doesn't also make any sense. So therefore, I need to do some custom coding. So I'm going to put this if away. I'll need it in a minute. And then I want to do some vibe coding inside NA10. It's amazing. So I don't know anything about coding. I'm Hendrik Arbati. And I'm going to take the vibe coding route. I'm going to close my eyes and then speak to my microphone. So can you please write a little bit JavaScript code that would take the input from Supabase 1 node, and then it would check if there are database entries exist. If it exists, then it returns true. If not, then it returns false, with a nice little message that data found and data did not find, or I did not find data, or whatever you think, but you know what I mean. So that's the power of talking to computers. You can talk to them like literally like humans, and this breakthrough happened like literally a couple of years ago, and I'm super thrilled to be at the forefront of this, having a master's degree in AI, building AI applications for the past 3.5 years, and so on. Well, I'm going to quickly test it out and see what happens. I'm not going to read the code and see what is the problem. Okay, so it has some problem. I can use their AI tools, but one of the ways that with N18 you can do is like literally take the whole screenshot, go to your chat GPT, and then paste it there, paste the screenshot in there, and then ask like, can you please quickly check this N8N workflow with this custom node and fix something in this? The JavaScript needs to basically check if there was a database entry. So basically, I already kind of see what is the problem. It's just a case sensitivity. Supabase spelled with small and big S, but let's give this a try. And right now, my dictation tool is failing. That's okay. Okay. Yep, it failed. Can you please write a JavaScript that would fix this? Meanwhile, it is running. I will quickly see this, because this, I think, is supposed to be big. And it's still failing. Let the LLM do the job. Human eyes are not. Okay, you encountered error. Can I find the name of the error? Okay. I think it's not able to find the right still. Okay, let's find out what is the case here. So here it has to be Supabase capital. There we go. It was just a capital thing, maybe quotation mark. But I just want to show you guys the trick. Like, you take a screenshot from here, you put it somewhere else, it just magically works. If you are a programmer, you know it like this, then you're in a great blessing. Now you have like literally clean data showing you if the data exists or do not exist. I think this shows the wrong data. It says data exists, but actually data do not exist. This is an actual problem that we can go and fix. So let's see, make sure that the data do not exist here. Let's carry on with this approach here very quickly. I'm going to take a screenshot from here and describe the problem. Now, the issue of not finding the right index was done. In this case, the data exists. Oh, indeed, the data do not exist. Why is it showing it the way around? This is important part. Your logs will end up on the logs. So this code thing, if you master this code thing, you'll be really good. So that console log that you are used to can be done now here. Supabase data. And now if I open my console, here, I filter for ABC, test. My console log literally will show here this thing. Okay, nice. Now I take the screenshot of this entire thing because it has the console log, and I'm gonna use this, and then ChatGPT knows way more about this. I have been doing this with ChatGPT, not yet so much with Claude, but it would be amazing to see if we get some sort of integrations between Claude and N8N so that my N8N workflow can be managed from Claude. It's on a 3.7 or something. So I'm going to copy this entire thing, go over here, paste it. I see things, click things, do things. Most often they work. It didn't work. Let's check it out. Okay. Let's copy this one more time. And still it's giving an error. It's again going with that capital. Okay, the brain of ChatGPT is still with that old one. We need to update it because it's ignoring that data. There we go. So it says the data do not exist. Perfect. Now let's go on with this to the next level. Now I'm going to connect this with this if condition. So with the if condition. And the if condition now has a clear path to saying if data exists, or maybe if this is Boolean is false, if the data do not exist, only then go and store it in the database. And what does the stored database do? If I execute the previous nodes, in storing the database, I will basically take the email ID from here. And then I will basically take this was correct, I think. Yeah, I'll take the entire Gmail JSON from there. So now if I run this for the first time, it should work in the store. For the second time and third time, it should not store it. But right now it's going through. It's not correct. So double check if then it's not correctly done. Why? Because maybe the Supabase retrieval is not working correctly. We need to test this out. Let's check our database. Do we have records here? Yes, we do have records here, but email ID is empty. So let's go and check that out. When I'm storing email ID empty. Okay, then this is my problem. I will fix it like this. Okay, save. Now, for the very first time, it should work in the store. The second time when this trigger runs after 1 minute, it should not go. There we go. You can see that it went to the false route. So that was the power of vibe coding with N8N. Please like, subscribe, and share my content. All right. I just made a small video while it's hitting two birds with one stone. Sorry, guys. I hijacked your session, but it would be the same thing that I would have spoke with you guys as well.
I think that's what efficiency is about, right? So.
Exactly. All right. And the irony is that both of these videos will end up on my YouTube. So one would be like with 3 hours length, one would be with this much. Everyone, my name is Emil Sire. I love this feature in N8. Okay, so now what we have done is we build ourselves a very sophisticated email ingestion system. So it goes in and then it checks every minute. Yes, Yannick?
Sorry, I just had a technical question there. Why would it not work with the empty object? Because like if you retrieve a row, it doesn't find it. It will be empty, right?
No,
If it finds one, it
I
returns a
couldn't
row.
figure out how to do it. It doesn't. It just it's a UX problem. I cannot drag and drop. I cannot
Oh,
use
okay.
the $sign. There isn't any way
Okay.
I can extract it and see if there is this thing exists or not. It's just something that I could not do with N8N.
Right. Okay.
And I did it with custom code. So that this is very interesting that we should know that the power of such a tool will keep increasing. Like there are these small little nuances that will
Essentially that they'll fix, right?
Exactly.
Then you can write
custom
code when you
code-
need it.
Exactly. The
That's
custom
great,
code
yeah.
made it easy to go on with that.
Awesome.
Give me a second, please. All right, I'm back. So we did the ingestion part. Okay, now the last part is the reading part. So we have literally this part done, this part done. We're literally just a few steps away from finishing the entire content of the workshop, excluding the vibe coding, but you got a gist of what vibe coding I want to cover during the workshop. It's that being vulnerable, relying so much on LLM, dumping things out there, screenshots, describing with a microphone dictation tool, and so on and so forth. That's the concept of vibe coding I want to give. But this vibe coding course that I have recorded will be something that they can consume in order to become the best vibe coder in the world. I created this course. It has 50+ lectures, and I shared my step-by-step tutorial, step-by-step workflows that I use on a daily basis. All right, so let's read it. Let's actually make a workflow that will read this thing. So this is the ingestion pipeline. We call it champions ingestion or email ingestion. Okay. It ingests email. It makes sure that it doesn't duplicate, and it just keeps going on and on and on. Now let's create a read email workflow, and then we call it a day. I think we are pretty much on time. It should be done, and I will leave some time for question and answer. Read email workflow or read emails. Okay, I need a webhook, that's for sure, because VAPI will call this webhook. And I need it to respond to this webhook. What else do I need? I need to get Supabase records. So I need to get many. I will get multiple at the same time. And I will get 5 of them. 5 of them like this. What else do I need? I'm good with this much so far. Let's run it and let's see what happens, okay? And this has to be a post endpoint, not a get endpoint, because VAPI will send me a voice ID that I need to send it back to them. It's a webhook, so it will need to be that way. I'm going to copy this, pull my Postman, put this thing in here. I don't know exactly what body I will receive from VAPI, so I'm going to just pretend that I'm going to receive something. Just an empty object should do. Or it doesn't do. It's a 404 because it's not running. what's going on here. It says no respond to webhook. Okay, yeah, because we don't have a respond webhook. So we need to put the respond webhook on this side, and this should just do the job. Now if I run it, perfect, it's running. I have all the data that I need to play around with. So the webhook comes here. It has this AB payload. It's just a placeholder. This AB payload will be replaced with the placeholder of VAPI coming from there. What else do I have? I have the Supabase. I get 5 emails, and I send it back. Basically, the emails that I get back. So in here, I should receive all the emails. But this is not nice for VAPI. VAPI should not see a payload like this. VAPI, Samantha is a baby. She's 2 years old, and she can already speak and do our job. So it makes sense that we curate this text for her. So let's do that in here, in between this part. What can we do with curating that text? Same thing, AI agent node. And then in this AI agent node, we can define prompt here. But before that, let's add a model. Sorry, OpenAI model. For Romania is okay. And then in here, I'm going to define a prompt. And the prompt is that, can you please create a very short summary of the following JSON data that contains maximum last 5 emails of Emil Sire. Make sure that the output that you generate do not contain any markdown or any new lines /n, and no quotation marks and punctuations. And the reason is because this text will be read by a text-to-speech model. Therefore, it should be fluently readable. Okay, please work. Yeah, it worked before it broke, so therefore I was worried if it works or not. I'm going to change it to expression. And in here, I'm going to drag and drop the entire email block that I have. Oh, and indeed, this is a very important part. Look at what we have here. This is a very important and very underrated part of NA10 education. There are 3 items here. And if I run this AI agent on this, what will happen is in here, this AI agent will run 3 times, 1 per item. So I need to do something else here. I will move this here. And here, there's another node called merge. Sorry, aggregate. Aggregate. What aggregate does, it takes all the data and then merges all of them into one set. So I have 3 emails in my inbox. It will take and put them all in one object. So it can create like this, an array of objects that contains all of those emails. By the way, it's just a bug that I had 3 of them because I clicked the, we haven't fixed the bug yet. This is a thing. But it's a very good bug that it existed there because it led us to this problem of merging them. Otherwise, when the second email would arrive, this workflow would fail. All right, so now I have this, and then I'll connect this one here. And then I have just one data set, sorry, one data that has 1 item that I can drag and drop here, which will be used for the summary. But again, that problem that I mentioned before, we need to do JSON stringify here. This is something I think NA10 folks can do it under the hood. We don't need to do it on this level, but it's absolutely okay. Now I can see that it is reading it. I'm going to click on test. And there we go. I received a very simple readable text that can go to the TTS. I'm going to save this, exit, connect it with this dude. The entire workflow is done. The entire reading workflow is done. Now we need to connect this to our voice interface. Before I do that, I'm going to run it quickly, and I'm going to trigger it from Postman. It's AB. It runs, it does everything, and it gives me this short message. Okay? All good. Now let's go. There's like literally a few small steps left. I will run this, and I will go to my tools in VAPI. I'll create a tool here, and I'll call it read email champ. And I'll paste this server URL in here. Use this endpoint to read emails. I have to say to read emails. Okay, read email champ is the one that we want to, and Samantha is the assistant that we have created. And we have a tool already assigned, draft email. Let's assign another tool to this called read email champ and publish this. It's not going to work. And the reason it's not going to work is because the response that we are sending back is like this, output. And the response that actually VAPI expects is something else. But before I fix that small problem, let's go and check this and see if it at least can trigger it. Okay, it's running. I'm doing good. Can you read my emails? Okay, perfect. It failed. It said it seems there are no new emails, but that's understandable. I understand why it's failing, and we're going to go and fix that in a minute. Let's give more space to the workspace to run. There, we just need to click run. There is one small bug in NA10. Whenever you see this, that it runs and then nothing happens here, it's just a refresh away from this to work, okay? The bug that this dude cannot read is basically it's expecting the payload somewhere else. And right now what we're doing is we're sending the first incoming payload. So if I run it from Postman, you can see that what happens is, okay, it's not running. I'm going to run it first. Then I'm going to run Postman. Perfect. I get the response back here. Why is it not running this one? I don't see where's the response coming from then? Okay, now it worked. The entire workflow worked. So this response is not the response that VAPI is happy with. We need to change this response. How do we do that? We say, hey, send back this particular response. I have it somewhere in my notes. I'm going to copy it from here. And there we go. So the exact the exact payload has to be something like this. And my clipboard is not working. Okay, it has to be something like this. And if I make it big, you can see how it should be. It is expecting a so-called tool call ID. Where do I have tool call ID? If I go around, I will see that when VAPI called me, okay, this call is, sorry, this webhook is not from VAPI, therefore I don't see it. It is just AB, so I need to ignore that. Okay. I need to ignore that. Let's just leave ABC123 here. Save it, close this window, just live with it. Why? Because we need to create one workflow to execute, to be executed by VAPI so that we can get the entire payload of VAPI first here. All right. Now, if I click on talking, I'm doing good. Can you please read my last emails? And wait a minute, I have an idea. I was just joking. Just read my emails, please. Exactly. So it says, it seems there was an issue accessing your email. Absolutely understandable. Why? Because it does not understand this output. What we need to do is now we need to give it this kind of an output. This output comes from the VAPI's call. So the VAPI called the webhook API. The webhook API had something in the body called tools, and this ID. This ID has to go right there. I'm going to remove the ABC123. And then the message has to be the message that we have aggregated from our AI agent, this one, like this. Save, exit. Since it's my AI agent, it makes sense that I go here and then I fix this name here. There we go. Okay, now if I run this and I run this, I'm doing good. Can you please read my last emails? So it's perfectly working fine. It's reading back my emails from Supabase.
We just didn't hear it, but we believe you.
couldn't hear it because of the tab it was
Yeah.
not shared. But let's actually this workflow of VAPI is so mesmerizing. I wanted you guys to see that, but let's see it this time. So
Hi, Emil. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you please read my last emails for me?
Give me a moment.
Oh, wait a minute.
It
I
seems-
have wait. Try it now, please.
Hold on a sec. You have 3 recent emails, all with the same subject. Testing email ingestion title.
Okay.
Body read.
Now, can you please do me another favor? Tell me what is the most favorite food in Germany?
One of the most favorite and traditional foods in Germany is Sauerbraten. Sauerbraten is a pot roast, usually.
Okay, that's it. So basically what we have done so far is we created an ingestion pipeline. We created a way to compose an email. We created a way to read email. And we are just like here for 2 hours. That's insane. The amount of work that I have done here is the amount of work that I have spent 1.5 years building my startup with this. So it is totally a new phenomenon, a new way, and it's mind-boggling, and it's literally the industry is changing. Companies will not need 10 developers to build a product. They will need only 2 developers. And how we as developers can stay ahead of this game and be effective in our work is to keep learning AI tools, to keep learning small little workflows that you don't know will put you 5 hours behind another person. Small little workflows. And I have been blessed to be at the forefront of it and learning it by making mistakes. I mean, Farah was in my last workshop. You saw how unorganized I was, like, yeah, I want to do it. And that was the second workshop. The first workshop was like, literally, I want to jump over the window and then leave the room. Because of all those failures, I kind of found all the wirings. Like you saw that this custom code with that one, it unblocked the entire workflow. And so is the case now with the next gen AI developer tools. As you guys may know, OpenAI acquired Windsurf for $3 billion. And what can they build? What is going to be the future of this software development? I have been writing code for 23 years nonstop. I have seen things like when I asked my senior engineer at the time in 2006 or sometimes, I said, like, I'm good with ASP 3.0 and JavaScript and Microsoft Access. What should I learn new? He said, like, there's a new thing in the market called jQuery. Learn that, you will be very good with everything. So is the case now. This way of coding is our new jQuery. It's a jQuery moment. And I'm sharing my knowledge back to this AI community as much as I can for the love of AI agents, for the love of community building. I'm doing it all voluntarily. I have 2 kids, 1-year-old and 6 years old. I'm married. I have 3 businesses in Germany, 2 GmbH, 1 UG. You can imagine how many literally I see that much unread mails on my table. And I cannot be more thankful to you guys to make sure that this value that I want to deliver to this community can be delivered, actually. And you guys are really champions. Thank you so much for being there.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, any questions? We have 15 minutes for Q&A.
Actually, I don't know if I missed it, but are there any logistical information that you want to share? Maybe I'm late to the party because I don't even know where the venue is, and how exactly are you expecting the champions to work with how many people and all of this? Have you shared this already, or are we going to?
Since these are this information that I'm going to share is not reusable, I will stop the recording and then I'll answer these questions. Before I stop the recording, is there any non-logistical related questions so that we can capture that in the recording for the other champions to catch up?
I mean, before you stop the recording, isn't this information also important for the other champions?
You're right. You're right. Let me answer it. Because I will put this on YouTube. I'm not sure how easy it is to share the address and so on YouTube, but I'll answer it in the right way so that it doesn't hurt anyone. So the address and everything will be shared with you guys via email. And a day before, I will put it on the Luma page. The reason I'm not putting it on the Luma page right now is because we had an influx of so many people, and I want to make sure that the people who have applied and they're relevant for the workshop. I don't know yet how I will do the shortlisting. Even for this 120 people, I have to do shortlisting because I can see in one sheet that is a mandatory sheet for everyone to join. I have 109 people. And I believe a lot of people did not fill this. They clicked, they are in Berlin, they're thinking that they're coming, they overread the message. So apparently, we're expecting 180 people. But I have to kind of close the doors at some point in time, and therefore I'm logistically, I have never done this before. It's my first time. I'm a dark basement software engineer writing code. I want to be in my corner. I broke my shell 3 months ago, and this thing happened. So I need to, therefore Rakesh was helping me in the call in the start. He's more this soft skill guy, the people guy. He's helping me to do the logistics. We will think about how to share the address with everyone so that they know where to come. But in worst case, you guys will not miss it because you have me on WhatsApp and I will give you guys a location on WhatsApp. You will not miss it. Any other questions?
Yes. So and how?
Wait a minute, please. I just realized about something. If you are a prospect champion, you want to be a champion in the next workshop, you're watching this video, that's one of the good reasons. You will have me on the WhatsApp group. And I promise I will help you guys on on call, asynchronous whenever you're blocked, before and after the workshop. So you once get this champion badge, you're a champion forever.
Great.
Okay. Yeah, what was the question?
Yeah, so how does the champion actually work during the workshop? How many are we sitting, let's say, on one table with 10 people, 15 people, or whatever, and then help them going through the steps? Or what is exactly the role?
Okay.
So
the actual number of champions and the actual number of participants is not known, and it cannot be known until 10 a.m. on 17th of May. Why? Because champions can get sick and participants can get sick, or their priorities can change and they cannot come. Therefore, I'm thinking about 1/10, always 1/10. So let's say if you are sitting in a table of 10, it's manageable. That's the maximum. If, let's say, by the end of the workshop, let's say by Friday, this next week, on 16th of May, still we got some latecomer champions, I will push them this video so that they can be prepared. And then on the spot, we'll decide how many tables goes to which champion. And then from this floor plan, we will say that, okay, right, left, south, east, west, or whatever it is that we decide to distribute the number of people among the champions, so that whenever the participants get stuck in a step that I explain on the screen, then the champions will help them. If the champion got stuck, then I run over to that table and I will unstuck the champion table.
okay.
The format is hands-on. Everybody brings their laptop, they sit together. I show one step and then I pause. Everybody does the step, and then I say, by show of hands, who is stuck? And then we see like 10% of people are stuck. The champions go and unstuck them. And then I wait another minute and I say, by show of hands, who is stuck? And then I see nobody's stuck, and then we go to the next step, the next step, the next step. So that we make sure that we forcefully educate them with all these steps that we have. Because if I keep doing it with this speed that I have been doing it during this session, everybody will fall asleep and nobody will learn. And all my 100 hours of hard work will go to toilet. And I don't want that. And I will be super sad about that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
So that means we have a number of participants on the table, and we serve as your proxy by helping them for each step that you are presenting and asking the participants to execute. Yes. Okay, got it.
Okay. Other questions? How is your confidence level now? Like, how confident are you that you will perform good as a champion, or do you feel that you will get stuck? Anyone?
I don't think we will get stuck if we would do the task beforehand. So I think soon you will be able to share those steps, and we do it on our own before the event, then we can help.
Okay. Okay, I will share the videos literally tomorrow, because this video will take a little bit time to process, and I can upload it latest by tomorrow, because it's like a lot of videos, 38 or something videos, the actual course content, but the actual course content is like 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes long, all which, if put together, will end up being this course content that I have just went through with you guys. However, whichever is finished first, then I will upload that, and then you should have your hands there. But if I will get busy again from Tuesday to Friday, and then on Saturday we see each other. If in between you guys got stuck, please create a small Loom video of your workflow where you're getting stuck. What is the problem? Download that JSON of the workflow on NA10, send it over to me on WhatsApp group, and then I'll have a look at it before going to bed, and I will do another Loom video and send it back to you guys with the solution. Or I will actually fix it and then send it back to you, the JSON file itself, I'll send it back to you. So that would be one way that I can support you throughout the week. But I think the steps are pretty clear. if you do it as Vlad mentioned. Can I call you Vlad, Vladimir?
Okay.
Yeah. So as Vlad mentioned that the amount of steps are like, if you do it once, then the amount of steps are not so much. Like you will know it like by heart.
Maybe we also can use already this approach and then stack each other if we would post, for example.
Perfect. That's a good idea. It's a small round of testing. Being a champion to each other. All right. Any other questions? Then we all get 5 minutes back. Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to stop the screen recording now.